Started reading the book, The Dreadful Smelly Colonies, The Disgusting Details About Life in Colonial America. You watched me read the first section called New Land, New Home, and we learned and I modeled how to find the main idea of that section. Then we pulled supporting details from the text to help support my main idea. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to use that same article or same section of the book, and we're going to learn how to write a summary of that section of the book. So let's talk a little bit about our learning progression. What we're focusing on this week is more of this side. It's more kind of where you left off in fourth grade. We learned about finding the main idea. We learned about having supporting details. And now we're going to focus on how to summarize that section. When I summarize a section of a book, I am not rewriting the entire section. I'm pulling the most important parts and the main idea and details out. And I'm also, this is really important, careful to keep my own opinions separate from the ideas presented in the text. So I don't get to really include my opinions about what I thought was disgusting or what I thought was not that harsh. That's my own opinion. I'm just sticking to the facts and what the author had taught me. So I pulled up the article that we read yesterday, or the section of the book, and remember, as I read, I went through and I highlighted the details. These highlighted details then helped me create my main idea in details. So I have that pulled up because as I write my summary, I'm going to use my main idea and my 3 details to help me describe that section of the book. Okay, so I have this pulled up right next to me because I'm going to be using it throughout writing my summary. And whenever you write a summary, you're always going to start by describing the book or the section that you're going to be summarizing. So how to do that is something like this. I'm going to start my summary by saying, in the section, New Land, New Home, author Elizabeth Romm. Okay, let's pause and let's fix my mistake and let's talk about my first part of my summary. Whoops. In the section, New Land, New Home, author Elizabeth Romm. Okay, so this is how I start all of my summaries. I am explaining what I'm going to be summarizing. I'm summarizing this section, and I mentioned the author because she's the person that taught me. So I'm going to keep going. In the section, New Land, New Home, author Elizabeth Romm taught me that, okay, this can get hard for some students because they get it all set up and then they don't really know what to write about. But remember, we did the hard part yesterday. We found the main idea, the most important part of the text, and we also found the details that support it. So when I'm summarizing, I'm taking those key main ideas and details and I'm including it in my summary. So I'm thinking, well, what did she teach me? Oh yeah, she taught me my main idea. So she taught me that colonists lived in many different types of shelters to survive, but all were pretty dreadful. All right, so I have started off my summary strong. I've included my main idea, but now I need to go through and I need to help explain how those shelters were different and how they were kind of dreadful to live in. So now I'm going to use my details to better explain that. One example was tents made of sailcloth allowed mosquitoes to feast on the colonies or colonists. Okay, so I have one detail. Now I need some more examples and facts. So I'm also going to just continue with my other details. I'm going to say another example was their wigwams was in their wigwams. The fires added blinding smoke to their homes. Okay, I'm going to reread what I have so far, and I'm just going to make sure that my summary includes complete sentences and that it makes sense. In the section New Land, New Home, author Elizabeth Romm taught me that colonists lived in many different types of shelters to survive, but all were pretty dreadful. One example was tents made of sailcloth allowed mosquitoes to feast on the colonists. Okay, I'm going to include one thing in this sentence. I'm going to say one example was their tents that were made of sailcloth allowed mosquitoes to feast on the colonists. I think that's a little bit stronger. Another example was in their wigwams, the fires added blinding smoke to their homes. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I have another example. I'm going to say a final example was cave-like homes were dug into the ground and they allowed mice, rats, and snakes to slither into their homes. Okay, so I'm just going to indent my paragraph up here really quick, and I'm just going to kind of take a look and make sure that this makes sense. Remember, my summary needs to include only the most important pieces of information. Remember, I didn't rewrite the entire section. I pulled out those key details and the main idea. Now I need to check and I need to make sure that my opinions are not really throughout my summary. As I'm rereading it, I'm noticing that I have my details that I pulled directly from the text. I also have my main idea I came up with. And yeah, I think I mostly I always list the facts. I'm not including my opinion, which could be like my favorite shelter. I'm not including my opinion about how I am terrified of snakes and I'm so glad they're not in my home. That's all my opinion. I just focused on what was listed in the text and what the author taught me. You're going to continue in your reader's notebook and you're going to be taking a look at slide 5. You're going to reread the section, No Privacy in the Privy, from the Dreadful Smelly Colonies on slide 3. So you're going to be rereading this. And then next, you're going to summarize that text below. Just how I did, you might want to go back and review what your main idea and your details were, because those are going to help guide your summary. Here's a quick look at your learning progression. You can always refer back to it to make sure that you're not including your opinions, you're keeping it short, sweet, and only including the most important pieces of information.